Hi, Gary here. Student debt has now reached 1.3 trillion and growing. You have to go back to the third quarter 2008 when the whole financial crisis started, and it was 611 billion. It's more than doubled in the last 7+ years. That's phenomenal. So you now know that the majority of that debt is carried by those between the ages of 20 and 39. It's a really big problem. The class just graduated here in 2016 has an average of 37,000 in debt. Now we know many people have 50, 100, 150, 200, 300,000 in debt out there. Big problem. So, question I ask young parents with children is, would you like to make sure they have no debt when they get out of college? And they go, absolutely. I want to make sure they don't have to go through what I have to go through. Because it's about 75% of the people out there. So it comes down to starting early, funding for that college education. And how do you do that? Well, there's a bunch of different ways. Number one, you can just open up a personal account, set the money aside in that bucket, build it up over time, and then use that to pay for college. It's taxable as it goes along. It's not the most efficient way, but it's certainly a simple, easy way to do. You have complete control of the money, do everything you want. Second, you can do a Uniform Gifts to Minors Act. That's where you act as a custodian for your child, or if you're a grandparent for your grandchild, and then you put money into that. It's limited to the annual gift exclusion, which is $14,000 per person per year from each person, and it can grow again. There's tax at the kiddie tax level or the child's level, but it's a taxable account, generally speaking. And the negative is that it will end up have to be paid out, technically owned by the child between the ages of 18 or 21. Depends on the state, because every state has their age of majority when those accounts become available to those children. So that's not the best way to get the money. Also, it does count on the FAFSA, that form that you fill out for student aid. So that's not good either. Third is, what we'll talk about today is trusts, irrevocable trusts, where you build these things out there to do all sorts of fancy stuff, but it's a little more complicated and higher level, so we'll hold that off for a moment. But the last one, which is the one we want to talk about today, is the Section 529 plans. So what are they? Well, number one, this Section 529 of the Internal Revenue Service Code was established in 1998. And at that point, it basically said this: the states will administer these plans, and they fall into two types, and that's prepaid and savings plans. We're really going to talk about the savings plan, because those are the ones that are most versatile, the most flexible. So you, parents and grandparents, can put away, again, plenty of money, $14,000 per, husband and wife for the child. That's $28,000 a year. You can fund it all up front. You can put all 5 years in, so you can really pretty much do what you want to do there to fund this thing. It's a vehicle. It's administered by the states. It's kind of like the 401k sub-accounts where you have stocks and bond type mutual funds you can invest in, and then they have allocation funds as well. Those can be built over time as you put more and more money in. But the most important part is they're tax deferred, and the distributions are tax-free if they meet the qualified college expenses that you pay for that child. So as long as it meets those expenses, you can that will be tax deferred and tax-free. So it's the best deal out there. You can go and look at another post I had about the Rule 72, where it will make a big difference being tax deferred and tax-free, especially over the life of that 529 plan, which could be 18, 20, 25 years. Now, you might say, Jay, but what if my child gets a great scholarship, doesn't need the money? Well, you can move it from one child to another. You can also go to your grandchildren. You can also go to cousins. You can also pull the money back. You say, well, if I pull the money back, how's that work? Well, there's a 10% penalty on the earnings, as well as having to pay taxes on the earnings, but it can pull back in your state, and it does not count, as it sits in a 529, for the FAFSA. So when you're filling that out for financial aid, you might be able to get that as well. So that's a very important aspect to it. Now, there's a lot of information here. It's very, there's a tons of stuff. Go to savingforcollege.com. Savingforcollege.com. This site was established in 1999. Started using it back then. very good site, covers all of your questions. I don't think there's anything you won't be able to find on that site. Really, really good place to go to learn everything you want to learn about 529s. But if you're interested in making sure your child or your grandchild's education is taken care of, consider looking at funding it in a 529. Till next time, enjoy.